Hello everyone, I'm the Viking General, and in this video I'll explain how to win offensive sieges. The poll was pretty decisive, with more than 40% voting for the sieges. If you want to participate in any potential future polls, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well. Furthermore, I also made a Patreon page. I'm not expecting anything at the moment, but if you want to, you could support me financially now. Please only do so if you are really sure you can miss the money. Finally, if you haven't done so, I do encourage you to join our Discord server. In the Discord server, I'll be able to give more regular and in-depth updates on what's happening. With all that being said, let's begin. Total War Shogun 2 is notorious for having difficult offensive siege battles. The castles are small and all units on the topmost level are unbreakable. While you can scale the wall at any point, climbing the wall tires a unit, reducing their morale, and they will suffer casualties while climbing. If the settlement has upgraded its main building even once, there will also be towers, which can inflict heavy casualties on your troops. Furthermore, archers placed on the battlements have their reload skill improved by 60% and have good cover against any return fire. All this means we have to try and limit these disadvantages as much as possible during our assault. Let's now take a look at how we win a siege. We can either kill and or rout all enemy troops, or we capture the objective in front of the Tenshu and hold it for 1 minute. If we keep in mind that enemies on the same level as the Tenshu will always fight to the death, you will generally have fewer casualties if you manage to capture the Tenshu, especially if there's only one level. Luckily, there are some things we can take advantage of. Firstly, we can keep enemy archers occupied without losing any men. If we move up a unit to stand just outside of the enemy's archer's firing range, the enemy AI will not move those archer units. This will allow us to position our archers within their firing range without enemy archers relocating. If we have unlocked fire arrows, we can now use those to take down the enemy towers. Afterwards, our archers will be able to fire into the enemy's ranks. Here, we prioritize enemy units that are the most dangerous in melee combat. While we are moving our archers, we also move a couple of defensive units to all the gates that aren't covered by enemy missile units and burn down the gates. These units there will also protect our archers from potential sally outs. After using up all our ammo, we can replace the units that are keeping the enemy archers busy with our own archers. Then we can move on to the next phase. Depending on the castle layout and the enemy strength and positions, there are a couple of different options. If the castle only has one level, we most likely want to capture the Tenshu as fast as possible. To do this, we move most of our forces to the side where there are no enemy archers and as close as possible to the Tenshu. Then, we first send up the units at the gates to draw enemy troops to the gates. Shortly after, we send up the rest of our forces to climb the walls and make a beeline towards the Tenshu. If the castle has multiple levels, the enemy placements are important. If the bulk of the enemy's forces is on the level with the Tenshu, it's better to assault the lower level. On this level, the enemy forces are not unbreakable, and if they rout, they will generally run out of the castle. So, we try to achieve local superiority and break the enemies. We send our most valuable troops through the gates, while our supporting troops are going to climb the walls. After conquering some ground, the AI will generally try to retake it and will be able to easily rout everything they throw at us. This is generally the strategy I use to take Kyoto. However, if the bulk of the enemy forces is on the lower level, we generally want to try and capture the Tenshu, if we have a relatively clear path towards it. This strategy is very similar to the single level castles, but it is riskier, since our troops aren't close to each other and cannot support each other if something goes wrong. On the flip side, this is also true for our enemies, which means that you can take a multiple level castle with a smaller force, if you know what you're doing. In the case where the enemy has towers, but you haven't unlocked fire arrows yet, we need to look for opportunities to easily capture the towers and turn them against our enemies. Until we capture the tower, we can try to limit the damage the tower can do by positioning our troops behind cover from the tower's firing arc. Furthermore, if we have fire rockets, we can simply use their superior range to wreak havoc among the defenders and then proceed with our normal strategies. In summary, the main strategy is to lock the enemy archers in place with bait and then lure the enemy away from the Tenshu, either to capture it or to rout them on a lower level of the castle. Finally, I want to add that, in my opinion and experience with the game, finding offensive sieges is generally better than trying to starve the enemy. You won't lose significantly more troops compared to a defensive battle, and you'll be able to use the province a turn or two earlier. Furthermore, you won't have to worry about winter attrition, and you also don't have to worry about getting attacked by another army while besieging. If the enemy is trying to send a relief force, I'd rather fight it in a defensive siege with a damaged army than the relief force and the settlement forces at the same time in a field battle with an undamaged army. Thank you for watching.